Hey y'all, Comic Girl Cosplay here with my next video in my YouTube series, A Beginner's Guide to Cosplay. In this video, we're going to be talking about wigs. So the first thing you want to consider when talking about wigs is whether you're going to be using a wig or if you're going to be using your own natural hair. And if you are going to be using a wig, whether you're going to be using a human hair wig or if you're going to be using a synthetic wig. Using your natural hair is the cheapest option because it's free and it's the most comfortable. However, if you go this route, you're going to be limited to your hair length, your hair color, and your hair thickness. Just note that you can always use colored spray or colored gel if you want to change the color of your natural hair. Also, some people will still opt to use a wig instead of their own natural hair, despite their natural hair matching the needs for the costume. This is often done because people don't want to have to style their hair the morning of the convention, also because wigs are a little bit easier to maintain and can be a little more reliable than natural human hair because there is no bedhead for wigs. Also, it could be a different hairstyle, it could be thicker hair, it could be thinner hair, and also it could be that the person has a different length than the hair. Synthetic wigs can be less expensive than human hair wigs, and they also come in a larger variety of colors, of styles, and of wig types. Human hair wigs are generally more expensive, and they tend to only run in natural human hair colors. Next, we'll be talking about the different types of wigs. Classic cap wigs are your standard wigs. They generally are relatively inexpensive, and also they work really well if you have bangs or if you have hair coming down on the front side. Skin coin wigs have a skin-colored rubber patch on the top to simulate your scalp, and this helps the wig look a little more natural, as well as allowing for different part locations. Lace front wigs have a row of lace mesh acting as the wig cap for the first couple of inches to give a more natural hairline. These tend to be used for wigs that don't have bangs or for wigs whose hair is pulled back away from the natural hairline, so the hairline itself is showing. Lace front wigs can also be used for other styles of wigs, however they're not commonly used due to the fact that the lace front makes it a little more expensive. Full lace wigs are very similar to lace front wigs, however the lace mesh goes all the way through as opposed to just the first few front inches, and these commonly aren't used often due to the more expensive nature of the wigs. Ponytail and pigtail wigs are designed to have no wefts showing when the wig is styled into a ponytail or into pigtails. There are two types of ponytail and pigtail base wigs. There are the cheat wigs, and then there are the actual ponytail and pigtail wigs. Cheat ponytail or pigtail wigs are actually just short wigs that are cut at the natural hairline. This is to simulate the look of somebody's hair, and the ponytail and pigtail portions of the wig are actually added on using ponytail or pigtail clips, whereas the natural ponytail and pigtail wigs are just wigs that are parted or pulled into a ponytail or pigtail style. The only time you'll really notice a big difference is if you're going to be posing or taking photos where your head is cocked, because you'll be able to see the cheat wig because of gravity just doing what gravity does. While we're on the topic of ponytail wigs, ponytail clips will clip onto your ponytail and to your wig to help create the illusion of a ponytail to give it that length, that volume, without adding any extra weight and possibly weighing your wig down to the point where it's falling off. And the last wig accessory we're going to be talking about are wefts. Wefts are strands of wig hair that can be sewn into the wig, and the purpose of this is to add color, to add length, or to add volume to your wig, and they can also be used to help cover up the wig cap itself. And lastly, we're going to be talking about wig styling considerations because sometimes you just can't buy a wig that's naturally styled to look like the character you're trying to cosplay as. Before we begin, I'm just going to be giving a few quick tips about styling wigs. My first tip is to purchase a wig foam head or to purchase a wig stand before you attempt any form of styling. This will give you a place to rest the wig and it'll be upright as it would be on your head while you're attempting the styling. My next tip is to always keep the bags and the hairnets that the wigs come in because you can use these for storage and they help reduce tangling in the wigs while they're being stored. Also along the lines of storage, if it's a long wig, braid the wig loosely so that it doesn't get tangled. And lastly, I'm going to be giving you a few tips on if you're going to be cutting your wig's hair. Firstly, cut off small amounts and keep cutting by small increments because the wig hair can't grow back, but you can always cut off more. Unless you're going for a very unnaturally blunt haircut look, always angle your scissors upwards and feather the hair as you're cutting it off to give it a bit more natural gradient. And lastly, remember to curl when cutting because the hair will always come out shorter once it's curled, and if you're going to be cutting the wig to be a certain curled length, the length will change once you curl it, so it's always better to curl first and then cut. So now that we've gone over those tips, we're going to be going into the wig styling considerations. The first consideration we're going to be looking at is how hot can the wig fibers be heated. For this, we want to look at what kind of fibers the wig hairs are made out of. Some synthetic fibers will actually melt when heated, so don't use a straightening iron or curling iron directly unless you know the wig can actually be heated. An alternative method to straightening out a wig or to loosen the curls of a wig would be to steam it straight. If you don't own a steamer, the easiest way to go about doing this is to actually bring it into the room with you when you go to take a shower. The steam produced from your shower will help loosen up the curls of the wig. And an alternate method to curling the wig, if it's a straighter wig, if you can't do it so with a curling iron, would be to take a set of curlers and a blow dryer on a low setting. It's actually the cooling down process itself that will actually lock the curls into place. So if you just heat it up on a low setting and leave the curls in there while they cool down, they should work. The next wig styling consideration you want to take into account is, will the wefts show when I style the wig? If the wefts are showing when you style your wig, you may need to part it in a different way. So for example, instead of a straight part, you may need to use a zigzag part, or you may need to purchase some additional wefts and to add them in just to kind of cover that up a little bit. And this can be a little more difficult when you purchase a wig off of eBay because they don't necessarily sell individual wefts. The next wig consideration we need to make is, how heavy will the final wig be? Weight is an important factor. Big, long, thick wigs will actually weigh down your head as you're wearing it and will begin pulling off or try to pull off your wig as you're wearing it. This can cause headaches, both stress-related and literal headaches, and also it can cause wig malfunctions. And the last consideration you want to make is, do I need to change my wig's color or add some more colors into the wig? If you need to change the color of your wig, you can always dye your wig using synthetic fiber dye, or you can always use the Sharpie method, which is to take a literal Sharpie marker and to color in your wig using the Sharpie marker. As you can imagine, it's a very time-consuming and tedious process, so oftentimes this is only done if you need to, for example, add roots into the wig, or some variation of minor color changing in the wig. And lastly, if you need to add additional colors into your wig, you can always sew in wefts of different colors. Well, that's all for this video. Until next time, when the uncanny adventures of comical cosplay continue.